Hello and welcome to Meet Our Makers, an artist interview podcast produced in association with Beats Per Minute. I'm your host, Jeremy J. Facette. On this episode, we get to meet Kate Nash. Kate Nash is a pop singer, songwriter, producer. She's been around for quite a while, and she just put out a brand new record, her first in a little bit, called Sad Symphonies, which is out now on Kill Rock Stars. In this chat, Kate and I dive into this record, the themes of it, including themes of mental health, wellness, well-being, and we also talk about how getting dropped from her record label and leaving a lot of her longtime team behind, including her manager, gave her a new perspective on what her work means to her and what her work could be. We talk about the sweet serendipity of how she found Kill Rock Stars, or really how Kill Rock Stars found her. And then we also dive a bit into her roots in the original days of MySpace and MySpace music, and how that platform really did help and was instrumental to creating her career. We also touch upon her relationship to her original older material, like her hit debut album Made of Bricks, which spawned still popular singles like Mouthwash and Foundations, and how that relationship has changed over the years. And we also talk about her time on Glow, a TV show that I swear I love, even though I totally screw up my quick synopsis of it, probably because I was nervous, but is a great series. It only lasted 3 seasons because of its untimely cancellation, which Kate and I do get into with, our own shared sorrow about that. There's a lot more in between. Kate was an open book, and I really appreciated her coming on the show to chat with me for a little while. So thank you for listening. This is me meeting Kate Nash.
I just had checked on my dogs, and they just had found, we have like a bunch of fox cubs that have been born in our like neighbor's garden, and I guess they killed a bird last night, and it was like a headless dead bird in the garden, and my dog was kind of like trying to eat it, and I was like, okay, I need to stop that situation from happening.
No, I support you.
Sorry. It was very disgusting, but it's all taken care of now.
Yeah, I've definitely been there with like rabbits, and mice. Yeah.
Oh, I know. It's
No
so
good.
like poor bird, but
But everyone's okay.
Everyone's okay now, yeah.
That's good.
Except the bird.
Except the bird, I guess. Your dog is fine. The foxes are probably great.
Yeah, they're happy. They got to kill a bird.
Well, hi, Kate. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for coming and hanging out for a little bit.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I was happy to have you. I was excited to see a couple weeks back, we should say, the release of your brand new record, Nine Sad Symphonies, which comically has 10 songs.
Yes.
Which maybe we'll touch on, maybe we won't. I don't know. But yeah, so it's called Nine Sad Symphonies. It's out now on Kill Rock Stars. And it is your first in quite a few years.
Yeah.
We don't have to get too in the trenches for this, but did COVID play a role in that, or was it kind of always a little break you were taking?
COVID and Glow, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, COVID, I think like a few things. I like last released a record, was it 2018, I guess?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and then I toured that up until 2019, and then 2020, I was wrestling training and picking up Glow season 4. And then we shut down. And I guess the reason it took 4 years is because I just like had no team. And I had like remnants of like team members in COVID, but I was like, this just isn't right.
Yeah.
These relationships weren't right. Some of them decisions to like end the relationships came from me. Some came from like my agent, like dropped me after a tour I did in 2022, where I was actually really happy because I was like, wow, I just did this tour with no new record since 2018.
Yeah.
And like selling tickets during COVID and like having no management. And I was like, and no label. And I thought we really smashed it. But there was like this whole argument over like 200 tickets, which is so silly. But I ended up getting dropped. And I was like, actually, this is a really good thing because I need like a clean slate.
Yeah.
And I need to kind of figure out what's right for me. I'm just so glad that happened because I sort of put it out online that I didn't have a team and that I was really proud of everything that we did, like just solo, and like my live team and the people I have worked with for years, which predominantly have been consistent on the live side. And then because I put it out there, started using TikTok and put it out there that I didn't have like management or a label. And then I started like getting contacted by distribution companies, record labels, management, and I guess an agent got in touch with someone who was helping manage me. I had all these kind of random like interactions that were positive, and I was like finding my feet with like, who's it going to be? And basically, my agent put me in touch with someone who became my manager, and that's when everything fell into place. Because you do realize as well, like, there's a reason that you have representation. And I was having meetings with labels and I was like, I don't know how to navigate this. Like, I don't think this is right for me to be doing this. And once I got my manager in place, like, it was just about setting things up properly. And so we just took the time, there was like COVID, and then there was like patience of like, let's sign a contract that feels right, and just take the time to put this record out properly. And I'm just so glad that I had that patience, because I think in music, you often as an artist can be like, I need this to come out now, and it can feel like rushing is in part of the process, but actually patience is a really important thing. I've learned that as I've gotten older. And now I've kind of set myself up for this new era of like releasing music with a label that feels really stable, which I've never had.
Yeah, it sounds like in a weird way, things sort of almost kind of falling apart or falling away actually gave you more control in the long run. And
Yeah,
maybe that was for the best.
You need to clear shelves. It's like,
yeah.
I got rid of a manager in the pandemic that it wasn't a bad relationship. I mean, I've had some terrible managers, but this was just someone that was like, oh, this just doesn't feel right. Why do I have to have a manager? I've had a manager since I was like 17. Why do I have to have that? And it was kind of just questioning, like, what is this? What do I actually want? What do I need? And like you say, I stripped it all back to then go, no, I do want a manager, but I just want the right person. And to be honest, the music business is crappy, and it took me fucking 18 years to find someone who was good at their job, professional and decent person.
Yeah.
And I think even that was partly just luck of being introduced to somebody like that. So it's like rare in the music business to meet people that you think, oh, you're cool and I could trust you, and this seems stable. And it just has taken the time that it's taken. But like you say, I'm so glad that everything just went away for a minute so that I could realize what I wanted and then take the time to find that.
Do you think that because you started and you entered the scene in the business quite young, that had something to do with figuring that out later?
Sure. I mean, I think if you started later, there's a chance you might have a bit more experience in some kind of business, I guess. But if you haven't had the music industry business, it doesn't experience. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be like savvy about that, because it is a really specifically weird industry. And every time that you put a record out, it's different. And it's kind of an ever-changing landscape with a digital kind of situation. So I really don't know, but obviously being 17, you're not really like ready to be a manager and an employer, which you are.
Yeah.
Because you become an employer of all these people, and you just are 17. So you're a teenager. Like, how are you supposed to know what to do with that? And it just takes time.
Yeah. I think about that a lot, actually, with like quite young stars that have been kind of cropping up lately. And I mean, I can't speak, and I would guess for the most part, others can't really speak to their experience except for themselves. But I do think about that, like, oh, you're 15 and you're number one on the charts. Like that must be a really interesting and strange experience, especially now, maybe.
I imagine it's a weird experience. There's also so many different levels of it, right? Because now people are like TikTok stars or I don't know. It's just like when people ask me, I often get asked in interviews, like, what advice would you give to like younger artists? And I'm like, I don't know, what advice would they give to me? Because I think like both would be really valuable because I've got the experience, but they've got sort of like the cutting edge of like being closer to the way that the industry's working right now, I guess. So there's always something to learn from each other. And I think that like, I always, if I meet like young artists, I just like give them my number and I'm like, call me if you ever need to chat to someone. Because I feel like having like mentors and just people that are there to chat to about relating to your job in some way is really important. Like having people that like have gone through things that you go through, I think is really, really important. It's one of the things about my generation that I think is a bit of a shame. We didn't connect very much. Like a lot of the women coming up around the same time, like, I just think like we should have just been friends. Like we should have been able to talk to each other about everything. And then you kind of can help like navigate some of the stickier situations. But one of my closest friends, Liz Nistico from Holy Child, and she's now Revenge Wife, it's like we really value that in each other. We always send each other voice notes and just catch up about like what we're going through, because it's so important to have someone to relate to, I think.
Yeah.
Can I just ask you a question about the audio? Do you need me to record anything my end for the audio?
No, I'm recording both layers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you for asking.
Cool. Yeah. I was just like, oh, I hope I'm doing it right.
So this record of yours, 9 Sad Symphonies, you mentioned, you kind of had to wait with that newfound patience of waiting to find the right label and the right deal and the right contract. Was the record done independently before any of that?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you were kind of dealing with that, like sitting on it, like, when is this going to happen? How is this going to happen?
Yeah, I was just distributing stuff before. And I mean, to be honest, I'm like already sitting on another record as well. So I feel quite ahead of the game, like in that sense. Like I've just been really ready to like release music for a while.
Yeah. Did you miss kind of putting out work in that interim?
Not really, because like, I mean, I missed loads of things in the pandemic. I was sad that Glow got cancelled. I really, really miss having that in my life. Oh my God, Glow was the fucking best. I could have done like 10 seasons of that show happily.
I know, we will definitely talk about Glow.
I missed, I think like the pandemic took something from me in terms of like hope. I mean, that's addressed in the record. I lost like spark for life and I really experienced depression. I've experienced, and I suffer with anxiety and OCD, and I have like ups and downs. And actually the pandemic has kind of made me wonder, like, maybe I need to look for some kind of proper diagnosis on like, and I don't know if this is just the type of career that I have that makes you feel like it's a result of that, but the ups and downs and the sort of like, sometimes you're so close to your purpose and you feel so passionate and you're like, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. I feel like really connected. I'm so excited. I feel driven. And then a week later, you're just kind of floating and you're purposeless and you're kind of lost, and that can really lead to depression. So it's something I'm grappling with right now, and have always grappled with, because it's a very like hot and cold situation with schedule and day-to-day routine. Like you kind of have to carve routine out for yourself, which I've definitely learned to do. But when I'm not in a studio or on tour and I'm not like close to the thing that makes me feel the most purposeful and fulfilled, you're like, wait, am I getting lost in, like, am I depressed? You sort of have to sort of grapple with like the ups and downs. And I think like I probably in 2022, 2023, I was really ready to start releasing, but I worked on a musical in New York, and I think I just knew that I wanted to put this out right. That was my main desire, was to find a team, and I'm just so glad that I have. I didn't know if it was going to happen again.
And how did you end up sort of linking with Kill Rock Stars? Because I mean, they're kind of a legendary label.
They
Yeah.
are. It was through TikTok, really. It was me like putting it out there. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
I just put out a video saying that I didn't have a team, and they like commented on it and then like emailed me, and we just started like doing Zoom sessions. And I feel like we like courted for like a year and a half before I was like kind of in and ready to sign the deal. So it's one of the cool things about TikTok. There's so much about social media that I just absolutely think is abhorrent and hate. But there is something about TikTok that there is like an element of that discovery there in that app. I think that if they could hone in on that a little bit more would be cool. That people can just kind of be discovered still on an app like that. I think they're just having difficulty like transferring that into like real music fans.
Right.
Like with younger artists or up and coming people, like it'll just be like 20 seconds of one song and fans are like going to the gig and filming themselves for their own viral content and then like leave it. I mean, there's all these like horror stories and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's great that people are discovering music again.
Yeah. And it's funny.
Playlist is telling them to, you know.
Right. The algorithm. Mm-hmm. It's funny too, though, that Kill Rock Stars and you linked up via social media, because like when you started, it was a very different time, but social media was kind of there, like it was the MySpace era.
Yes, the best era.
So that was like what helped some artists, including I think yourself to a degree, like get found, and like people could just put their music on there.
1,000,000%. It's like why I'm here.
Yeah.
MySpace, I think, was the coolest time in musical history kind of ever, because I mean, maybe I would love a music historian to talk to about this, because I'm like, is there ever been another time when teenagers were directly responsible and in control of what became successful?
Right.
There was no one in control. I don't believe there's another time where this has happened, because even if you go back to like the 60s and like teenagers going crazy for the Beatles, but that's because like the Beatles were like kind of put together and thrown in for, and like put on a label, and like people kind of, you know, like this was teenagers like plonking like songs on their MySpace pages and then meeting up in London or around the UK or wherever. I mean, I guess it was happening globally too. But kids were in charge. There was like lawyers and managers and record labels and agents were just like DMing me on MySpace, because they didn't have any control. They weren't gatekeeping anything. They didn't have that figured out yet. Now it's all a bit bullshit, isn't it? Because you know, Spotify is constantly advertising. I mean, I'm starting to get a bit exhausted on Spotify, I have to say. I think they have to be careful, because they're advertising to me constantly now. You go on the app and you're like, I'm feeling as a consumer that capitalism is finally getting to me in a way that I didn't really think it would. I think when I was younger, I was like, capitalism's bad, but I like consuming. Like I'm like the person in the queue, and there's like a pair of glittery socks at the counter, and I'm like, I want those. Like I like consuming stuff. I like purchasing things. I'm okay with a certain amount of advertising. Like I'm born in 87, like, you know, but now I'm like, I am tired of being advertised to, constantly advertised to, constantly. It's why I've had to like completely limit my social media usage now. I don't have Instagram on my phone. I don't use Twitter anymore because Elon Musk owns it. And I just like, I don't think he's a good person. So I don't really want to be a part of anything to do with his company.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah. And Instagram now, I'm not the main user of my profile anymore. My manager is. So to get access to my profile, I have to like be approved to be logged in by my manager. I really recommend it to everyone. I think you should get like your best mate or your brother or sister or partner or a person that you like to have your main access. Because I just don't think that we should be mindlessly using social media every day. Like, I don't think it's good for the brain. And I think it's done kind of really weird things to people. And I think it's made everybody behave in really adolescent ways. And so I've been kind of really limiting myself on social media lately.
Yeah.
Because it's just too much as well. Like, I don't want to see all this shit in my face every day. And
I
then I go
know.
on and then I go on Spotify to listen to music, and there's like an advert for a
Yeah.
new album that I don't know where they're getting, where this is like, where it's coming from. And then there's like videos, and it's just a bit like, Christ, like I'm actually fucking tired of being advertised to all the time.
Yeah. So I did want to ask one more thing about Kill Rock Stars,
Yeah.
because it was a label that, like when I first saw that your album was coming out, I didn't realize it was Kill Rock Stars, and then I found that out later, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay, because I personally, I know they have a huge roster, present and past, but
Yeah.
I associate them a lot with, like, the Riot Girls, like Bikini Kill,
Totally.
and then and Slater Kinney, and then also people like Deerhoof, and these kind
Yeah.
of chaotic DIY people that made art in
Yeah.
a way that, especially then, like no one else was really, quote unquote, allowing them to make.
Yeah.
Um, did you feel an affinity with that side of them?
Totally. I feel like, my third album, Girl Talk, was really inspired by that movement. And even My Best Friend Is You, my second record, there was like, I did like some spoken word, like punk poetry I was really into. I actually had the vinyl of A Cunt Is a Useful Thing that was a Kill Rock Stars, like 7-inch. And I used to have that written on the front of my piano, which when I first toured America, my tour manager was like, you can't have the C word on your front of your keyboard. And I was like, just leave it. And then all the girls in the show were like taking photos with it afterwards, which is cool. But I was really inspired by them as a label and by that scene as well. And I think like I experienced a lot of misogyny, and um, those two albums were kind of the beginnings of like my reaction to that. And I feel like I signed into like the major world, but I don't think I was ever really going to be a major label artist. That's not really like what I want
Yeah.
to, that's not really like, I want to play big shows and I would love to have big budgets. Don't get me wrong. Music's really expensive and I would love to do more. Like, and I think I do really well on like scrappy budgets. But I think that what I actually want to do artistically is outside of the major label world. And I'm not really sure, like, there's a lot of things, and maybe it depends on, what kind of label you're signing to. But in my experience, major labels, like, there's a lot of sacrifice that you have to make
Yeah.
on a personal level, especially back when I did. And I just don't like the environment, the people, they make my skin crawl.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Like, if anyone's listening that works for a major and wants to kind of contest this and reach out to me, go for it. But in my experience, I felt like it was very exploitative, and it was very much like about money and not really about the artist, and about artists being expendable. And I just don't like that.
Yeah.
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 So for me, like, I'm so suited to being on a label that's full of like music nerds who love music, who have this iconic punk history,
Yeah.
and who just are so cool to work with. Like, everyone at the label is like basically just a big music nerd, and that's my people. Like, that's
Yeah.
people I get on with and connect with and feel good about working with, because I'm like, we all have a similar core of about, like, we share like some ethics, it feels like, about what's kind of important. And I really like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, your music doesn't always sound like punk music, but there is a punk ethos, I think, to a lot of what you do, and like,
Yeah.
how you create and what you have to say.
I think so. I think part of that stems from being a middle child, because I feel like there's something in like middle child syndrome that's just like, don't tell me what to do. And you kind of have this problem with authority, but also, like, I feel like I have two sisters. I have a really like opinionated mother, and I had a really supportive father. And I think that my mom also was so political, and we grew up with sort of a cause,
Hmm.
and my mom was a nurse, and like there was a lot of life and death, and kind of lots to talk about what's right and wrong, and debate. Um and my mum is my mum is Irish. My mum was born in Dublin. And I just think there was politics in my background naturally. And and like a groundedness because of my mum being a nurse and working with like people on a cancer unit and working in palliative care. And it just made a lot of like what the industry values seem really like repulsive. And I think, yeah, I just have always kind of felt uncomfortable around the fame thing. Like people really, really find it so fucking important. And I just am like, well, it just grosses me out. And yeah, I think I got really into like, before that, I got really into the Buzzcocks, really, British punk, the adverts, like Zips, like there was a compilation called Bored Teenagers, which I got very heavily into. And that helped me discover like British punk. And I just felt like there was something in the Buzzcocks that connected with me on a level as a songwriter, where before that I was trying to be like poetic, and I was listening to like Jeff Buckley and Alicia Keys, and I was like, I have to be this kind of singer and I have to kind of be like deep and poetic. And then I heard the Buzzcocks and I was like, oh, you can be really straightforward and talk about mundanities and your actual perspective in your life. And like the fact that I work in like River Island and I hate my boss and I come home and eat biscuits is like actually still really interesting and relatable to loads of people. So it just, there's something about the punk spirit that has always resonated with me.
And so for this new record, Nine Sad Symphonies, first of all, quickly, why the title? What does that represent for you when there's 10 songs on the record? I know it's like a simplistic question, but
no, but I mean, obviously I was going to get the question.
I'm sure you've already gotten the question.
Yeah, I have. So it was kind of this little in joke with myself. I mean, I think with titles, they often just kind of come to you and they sound good and you then can't get it out of your head. And I was like, Nine Sad Symphonies, it just kind of like keeps going around in my head as this poetic title. But it really was a comment on depression is like when you're depressed, it's difficult to take care of yourself in a basic way. So finding the drive to like get out of bed or clean yourself or eat food or, you know, make an effort. It's difficult to have that ambition. And like tasks can suddenly become really big and feel like, oh, I can't do that. Like, how can I, like you just get this like lack of energy and for life. And to me, 10 songs maketh the album. You know, an album is 10 songs. I think a minimum of 10, like I don't think anything under 10 really is an album. No offense. I just think you should put 10 songs and call it an album. Otherwise it's like an extended EP or something. But I felt like it was this little goal of going like, oh, because there's these like mountains with depression that you have to climb. It's like set your tasks really simply and make them very achievable. So one foot, you know, the whole like one foot in front of the other, like don't think about the whole day or the whole week or the whole month or the whole year. Like literally think about this moment, and like you won't get overwhelmed if you're just like, all right, what I need to do now is get up and have a shower. Like that's doable. Just do it. And I think there's like little ways of making it achievable if you make things in these little chunks. We actually got taught that at school. Bite-sized chunks was how we were taught to revise for our GCSE exams, and that's kind of stuck with me. And I was like, yeah, don't even worry about an album, just make 9 songs. That's not even an album, that's fine, it's completely doable. Like, and it was just kind of a joke about that to me, you know, that like it's like this like minimal effort required of what's achievable when you're depressed. And because a lot of the record is about depression, it would just kind of felt like a funny title to me. And I feel like it sounds good too.
It does. It has a nice flow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, a lot of the themes in this record, depression, anxiety, you know, isolation and distance. Were there any songs that like, are you ever nervous to put out a song that's that intensely personal and sort of about something private?
I think I get a bit more nervous about the stuff that is about like love. Like I feel more precious about, I wrote a song about falling in love with my partner, Space Odyssey 2001 and The Vampire. And those things feel so, so personal and so intimate, and something they feel like I need to protect them, you know? I'm quite used to talking about my brain in songs. That's, in a way, is how I cope with some of that stuff, and how I it's like a bit of therapy. I mean, I am actually in real talk therapy as well, but music is real therapy, and music is how I process things emotionally. And so for me, it's not as scary to like expose like my struggles with how I feel as it is to go like, oh, I love this person and like I'm going to write about them, and then I'm like, oh, but like I think it's in today's world too. I'm like, I just like want to protect this personal thing.
Yeah.
Because everything's so out there all the time now that it feels I'm definitely more private as I'm getting older.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in your music, you kind of have to you can't be private, you know what I mean, in your music. Like,
yeah.
I mean, how, like, I guess there's ways of coming a bit more coded in your lyrics, but I think that isn't my style of lyricism.
Well, even like you said before, like being straightforward and blunt, you were like, oh, I can actually just say what's on my mind.
Yeah, like abandoned is that. Like abandoned, I feel abandoned by you. It's so naked, it's so to the point.
Yeah.
And I feel like when I did feel abandoned, I couldn't really write that song. But now that I like years later, I'm like, I'm gonna actually address that feeling and call it what it was, because I'm like kind of healed from it. You know, there's also that like perspective of being able to be a few years down the line and go back to something and call it what it is.
Yeah. And I do think there is sort of a misconception, I think sometimes, especially with sort of singer-songwriters, that whatever they're writing is about them right now. And I don't, that's not always the case. Sometimes we are looking backward.
Definitely. Yeah. I think that's actually one of the cool things about getting older and writing, is you realize as you extend your toolbox and you write in different ways and for different reasons, you kind of are like, oh, there's loads of ways to write, and it doesn't have to be this immediate, there doesn't have to be this immediacy. And obviously sometimes there is, but as you get older, there is less of an immediate feeling anyway, because you're kind of busy with adult responsibilities. When you're a teenager, you kind of have all day to just like lie around and daydream and be in your room and be like, I feel deeply. And like now I'm just like getting through the days, and I have to put more discipline into my work to actually keep being creative,
Yeah. And with that, with like noticing the evolution of your lyricism and your craft and your songwriting, like how do you reconcile that with kind of going back over your older material? Because you do still sing a lot of those songs live.
Yeah.
But has the relationship to those songs changed at all?
It changes quite frequently. I went through a massive healing period with Made of Bricks when I did the 10-year anniversary of that album, because I definitely resented it for a while because I just wanted to escape it, which I think is natural. I think if you think about being 18 and then like being tied to what you did at 18 for like 10 years, you might be a bit like, oh, for fuck's sake, I just want to be like 20. I want to be 25, 26, 27, 28.
Right.
But then when I did that, I was 30 and I was like, you know what? Like, I'm like really loving my like teenage self and like really proud of this album and seeing the love that it brought people. And it was such a celebratory tour that it just kind of really reconciled everything for me. And like having some of those songs that make people go crazy, it's like you get to give people euphoria, which is a unique thing to have as a performer as well. Not everybody gets to do that. And yeah, like I go through different periods of feeling really excited about playing those songs, and then also being like, I need to change up my set list because I'm bored of this. So like, how do I keep it interesting for me?
Yeah.
And not just like disassociate when I'm performing. But it is also like my job. And during the summer when I'm like playing festivals, for example, it's different experience to when I'm on tour. And I'm like curating and controlling a room and experience. Like when I'm at festivals, I'm like, I just want to give people like 35 minutes of like fun and hype. And like you're in a weird environment where you can't control any of the elements. Literally, you could be like playing opposite like a big Ferris wheel and like people selling like hot dogs and pizza, and there's drunk people and the weather is bad. And you're like, I just need to like cut through all of that Whereas when you're in a venue and it's enclosed and you know exactly how many people have bought tickets and you can control the music that's being played before you go on and have a support act that you've chosen, and you can kind of curate everything in like a much more detailed way. That's when I think you have a bit more freedom to like be really creative about shows and like be really picky about what songs you're playing.
Yeah.
But it also just makes you kind of excited to like write new songs, because like yeah, it's like it's like every album can be like a different opportunity to express yourself differently.
Yeah. And I mean, are you someone who's like kind of always writing a little bit?
I feel like I'm like depending on I'm like I'm not like always writing. I'm When I'm working on a record, like I am right now, working on new music, I'm like listening to a lot of the songs that I've recorded and like
Mm-hmm.
analyzing stuff and like thinking about the detail of the mix. And until I like finish something, then I want to like, then I'm ready to like pick up writing again, you know?
Gotcha. Yeah.
But I get like random ideas, and I have a notes app that's just filled with my voice memos, and my notes app are definitely always like filled.
Yeah. Just like little scraps of ideas.
Yeah, little ideas that kind of come to you.
Yeah.
And then I also believe in like not writing for a bit of time. Um, like soaking things up, and having experience to write about. Because if you, I don't know, like I guess I write in different ways. Like I'm not always just writing songs. Like I might be writing diary entries or little just things that I think might. I definitely tend to try to like get my thoughts out on either my computer or my phone or a book. Um, but I'm not necessarily always writing songs. But I think that I've come to really think of like daydreaming and thinking and like just writing anything in general is informing my songwriting, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it will probably end up in a song if I've got like a year's worth of notes about like a similar feeling.
Mm.
And then you kind of condense it into like song form. So for me, like the purest form of the idea or the thought is like in a song.
Yeah. So before we move on and talk about Glow a little, because I'm a massive Glow fan and would like to
Mm,
talk about Glow for a minute.
yeah.
I'm curious, are there any songs about Glow?
I actually do have a song about Glow. It hasn't come out. It's not
Okay.
out yet.
I'm just
But it was
curious.
gonna no, it was called One Last Shot, and it was like I wrote it for the final season. And it does have like an incredible like sort of 80s hair metal guitar
Oh, like
solo.
you wrote it to be in the show?
No, I just wrote it like for the last season, and
Okay. Okay.
we were gonna make a music video. Kimmy Gatewood, who plays one of the beatdown biddies, had a camera, and we started filming a music video on the last day that we like were shooting.
Hmm.
But we just kind of didn't really get anywhere with it. And I still have the song. I think like there'll probably be an appropriate moment to release it, but I don't think it's
Yeah.
yet.
Okay.
But it does exist. It's out there. We'll see. I think Flow is going to come back one day. I believe in magic, so
Hey, I'll believe in that magic. That's that's fine with me.
yeah.
Um, so for those who are unaware somehow, you were part of the main cast of the series Glow for 3
Yeah.
years. It was a show about a group of female roller derby. No, not roller derby. You were wrestlers. I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah,
what you
yeah.
said 80s, and for some reason in my mind, everyone was on roller skates.
Well, it's because that actually has happened before. It's because in our trailer of our first season, we're all on roller skates because
Is
we go
that
to
why
like
it's in my mind?
yeah, we go to like a roller skate park for Sheila's
Okay.
birthday. Do you
Okay.
remember?
Yes, and I do feel better now about why you're all in roller skates
Oh
in
yeah,
my
yeah.
mind.
No, because I think there's like a feeling of what was that Drew Barrymore movie too that was like, and Elliot Page was in it.
Oh,
I think
I
we had like people like felt like similarly about that movie
Whip
too.
It. Whip It.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Whip it, yeah.
Yeah, it's a similar vibe, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so you were on Glow.
Hmm.
And so for those who do not know, tell us like briefly a little bit about like who you played.
So I played Rhonda Richardson, and I basically, the show is The Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. It was a real TV show that existed in the 80s of the first kind of female wrestlers that were on TV. And there's an amazing documentary about it, actually, sort of about how lawless it was. And they had these two different groups. There was like the good girls and the bad girls. And like they had like little skits and like songs and stuff. And it ended up really being like a kids show. And so they made like a, you know, comedy drama version of it on Netflix called Glow. And I played Rhonda Richardson, who was a British character who had managed to get herself to America. And she wasn't necessarily like an intellectual, but she had street smarts. And my character ended up marrying Bash, who was our like ring announcer, who was also the producer and came from money. And he needed to marry someone to kind of hide his sexuality. And I needed a green card and money. And so, and oh my God, Chris Lowell, who played Bash, was just the funnest, bestest person to work with ever.
And
we had so much fun.
Such a good performance too.
He is just incredible in that show. I mean, he's incredible in everything. I think he's such a brilliant actor, but like the fun that he had like with that character, I felt like he really got to just play with these, like, if I watch it back now, I always keep my eyes on Chris because he's just always doing something that you're like, oh my God, Chris, like, you know, always doing something really funny.
Yeah.
In every scene, every moment. He's just so brilliant.
But then you guys did have one of the like most moving moments in the last season in the sort of menage a trois scene.
Yes.
You have that little, and I think about like the thing with Glow, because I loved it and I watched it when it was on, and I was of course heartbroken that it ended too early. But like the thing with Glow is that I'll just get like flashes in my mind of scenes from that show, and one of those is that moment where you guys have that exchange with just your eyes of you kind of being like, yeah, it's okay, like this is okay.
Yeah.
And he's beautiful in that. But like, so let's back up a touch. So like, how did you even enter this world? Because you had acted a little, but not a ton. And then you did wind up in the main cast of this relatively big Netflix series with like pretty big names. How did you find your way into the show?
So yeah, I had an acting manager since 2011, and I had actually done a pilot with Genji Cohen before. It was Gus Van Sant and Genji Cohen directed it.
Oh, wow.
It actually starred Susie Izzard, and Karen Gillan was in it. It had a really amazing cast. And it was about the Salem witch trials, essentially. It was set in the 1800s. It was an awesome, like gritty, like...
That sounds amazing.
Oh my God, it was awesome. It was like such a kind of down and dirty show. I read the script and it was like the baking piss into cake and sticking like sticks up women's vaginas, like riding the broomstick. And I was like, oh my God, this show sounds amazing. And I spent a month shooting the pilot, and it was for HBO, and it just didn't get picked up. And so Genji wrote to all of us, kind of devastated about that. But I then had the relationship with Genji and the casting director, Jen Houston. And so my management saw that they were casting this show. And I think it said like Glow. It was like Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. It was like spandex, hairspray, and like 80s and wrestling or something. And I was just like, oh my God, this sounds like the most amazing thing ever. And it was only a few words in the casting call. And so I just, I was immediately on Jen Houston of like, I really want to audition for this. And I just got an audition because I'd worked with Genji before and she'd seen my work. And I auditioned, sent in my 2 tapes. It was like 2 scenes and then 1 tape, which was, we had to have an audition tape as our wrestling characters, because you had your character in the show and then your character's wrestling character.
Right.
And I just made this like really unhinged, like wrestling character video with like music and stunts and just like this, it was edited it myself in iMovie and just really went to town on that. And I think that's what got me the gig. They were like, okay, she's insane. She's in.
She'll do anything.
Yeah.
So that's like, it just seems like this little dream come true kind of show experience.
It was unbelievable. I mean, it was one of the most life-changing, beautiful experiences of my whole life. Like it always will be. Glow, the girls from Glow are my family. They always will be. There's so much love and support there. even though we don't see each other all the time. Every time I go to LA, I mean, I lived in LA for about 10 years. I moved back to London last year to put out music, but every time I'm there, we always get together and have dinner, and it just changed my world. And we laughed. I laughed until my stomach hurt every day on set. I mean, it was the 80s. The costumes were incredible.
Yeah.
The sets were so cool. We had female creators. There was like 15 women that were comedians, and we supported each other and lifted each other up. Such a good cast. And then we learned how to wrestle with Chavo Guerrero. I mean, it's like a fantasy. It's like, I can't believe I got to do that, you know?
Yeah, I know. And it's like, there's you and there's Jackie Tone and there's Alison Brie and Betty Gilpin and Mark Mer, like this. It's like a murderer's row of like
Suni Tamani and
yeah,
Ellen Wong
Gail
and
Rankin.
Gail Rankin. I mean, God, what a cast.
Yeah, Tony nominee Gail Rankin, we should say.
I know. Who also played Sally Bowles in Glow. It was a premonition. We actually call that a glowman.
Oh my God, I did not put that together.
Like, there's weird stuff in Glow where it was a magical show. Like, things would happen in Glow that would then happen in real life. I'm not kidding. That happened multiple times. We would call it, we'd be like, oh, this is a glowman. It happened a lot of times.
That's so weird.
Yeah, it's freaky.
It does seem like it was a really life-changing experience for everyone. I mean, I just recently finished Betty Gilpin's book, where
cool.
she talks quite a bit about that and how Glow was this once in a lifetime, life-altering thing.
Yeah.
And it is so sad because I remember the news. I know Glow was sort of a COVID victim. Because you guys had started filming season 4 before you got the axe. Is that right?
Yeah, we were like 2 episodes in, I think.
That must have been a very tough day.
I mean, it was tough. I was kind of numb to it, because I was like, but at that point we'd also been, we'd been off work for 8 months. We were really fully in the pandemic hell. And chaos of American politics in 2020. Or, it was like, there was a lot to take in. I think that I really was kind of I didn't really think we were going to be cancelled. When we got shut down, I was one of the only people who was like, I think we're going to be out for a long time, like a year.
Yeah.
And people were like, no. And I was like, I just have this feeling. So I wasn't like shocked about the time, but I was a bit disappointed in Netflix, because I did feel like, I mean, they could have kept us going if they wanted to, it was like it was a choice to let us go. And I felt like it was really disappointing, because like, they sold our show, our selling points was diversity and using the girls' bodies and body parts to advertise the show for season 1 so much that I think there was story points to finish in our show that I feel like Netflix got to kind of take the credit of having this diverse show and then move on to like reality TV and like drop us without finishing the story. And I don't think that's right.
Right.
And just like women creators and Jenny Cohen too. It's kind of like, she was like, Orange is the New Black was such an amazing, like,
huge.
Like, think about when Orange is the New Black came out, we didn't have any other shows on Netflix. We had like 2 original shows on Netflix. That was it.
Yeah, that was one of the very, very first ones.
Yeah, and it was the other political one. I can't remember what that was called. I didn't really watch it, but
I don't remember.
Kevin Spacey was in it.
Oh, wow.
but like, there was just like those 2 shows, and it just feels like one of your main like female creators who changed the game should have been kind of kept on a bit more. But anyway, I think they cancelled her other show too. And but like I say, I sort of weirdly have faith that Glow will come back one day, and maybe we'll all be like 60 and we'll just be like teaching the new I mean, I hope it's before that, but I just think anything can kind of happen. And I heard a rumor that we were actually almost bought by other networks when it like when it got shut down. And then Netflix said they wanted to hold on to us for 5 years. And so next year is year 5 of that. So who knows, maybe we'll get bought by someone else and someone will finish the story, or maybe extend it,
I mean, that's enough for me to cross my fingers.
Right? Let's all cross our fingers.
Because, season 3 ended beautifully, but did end in a way that like
we wanted more.
Right. It ends in a very specific plot way that you're like, okay, now I need to know what happens.
Yeah, exactly. There was more to tell.
Yeah.
And God, it was so fun. Season 4 was really fun. There was such a cool, some really cool story points that I think would have been so awesome. But
yeah, that's too bad.
We'll see.
But there are 3 glorious seasons that people can go check out if they've never watched it.
There definitely are.
So back to music for a second. You are embarking soon on a tour for this new record.
Yes.
I know you have a few festival dates and some UK dates this month, but then in the fall you're coming stateside.
I am.
And normally when people, because I've interviewed a few people recently, oddly, who have kind of been out of the album game for a few years and now they're back. And usually I'm like, oh, are you nervous to tour again? But you actually toured quite a bit since your last record.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can still ask, but like, do you feel more prepared maybe because you stayed on the road?
Yeah, I don't feel nervous to tour.
Yeah.
I'm excited to tour. I think every year you get a little bit older, it's probably a little bit more nerve-wracking because you're like, oh my God, how's my back going to cope? Like certain health elements. But like, apart from that, no, I feel like I'm pretty hardy on the road, like I've toured a lot in my life and I'm excited to get back to America and kind of see the fans and put the work in there and, establish this new relationship with my new agents. And it's kind of an exciting new start for me in a weird way.
Yeah, it's like a new era.
Yeah, it's a new era, even though I've been going for a long time. So it's kind of exciting because it's like, oh, this is a whole new bunch of people to kind of collaborate with. And I think just like getting back to like fans, that it's so cool when you go back to places you haven't been in a while and you see fans that you haven't seen for years. It's so sweet. It's such a like unusual relationship to have with a bunch of people you don't really know, but you do kind of know each other.
Yeah.
And it's cool.
I mean, how long has it been, do you think, since you've toured the US?
It would have been 2018, I guess.
Okay. So like your last album rollout, essentially.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope it goes well, and I know I'm sure we over here are ready.
Hell yeah.
And I'm sure you are too. It sounds like you are too.
I definitely am.
All right.
I think it'll be really, really fun.
I mean, I don't see how. I mean, it sounds like it's going to be a good time. Yes, the album is called 9 Sad Symphonies, but it doesn't make you sad. I don't think the album makes you sad.
No. I mean, I think I've always been interested in that. It's like the girl groups of the 60s I always loved because their songs are actually deeply sad, but you're like dancing to them at a wedding and you're like, oh, this is such a great song. And then you're like, oh, if you listen to the lyrics, these are actually really sad songs.
Yes.
But we can talk about...
I think of He Hit Me when I think of that, the Crystal song.
Oh, man.
Or
even just Stop in the Name of Love. It's like, it's so heartbreaking, that song, but it's so like joyous to listen to.
Yeah. But, that's life.
Yeah, that's pop music.
That is totally pop music. It's absolutely pop music. So we should say again, 9 Sad Symphonies is out now on the esteemed, famed Kill Rock Stars.
Yeah.
Which is cool in and of itself. And it's also cool that this record is now out for people to hear. And yes, you'll be touring in the fall, so hopefully people can buy tickets and check that out.
Awesome.
Thank you, Kate, for this time.
Thank you. Yeah,
this was such a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me. Thanks for your patience.
Oh,
of
course.
Dealt with the dead bird in the garden as well.
Yeah, we don't need that. All right. Take care, Kate.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.